God I see checking back in with you all once again. Um, Thank you for tuning in, sending peace to you. You know, hopefully you all are raising your frequency and keeping your frequency high enough to continue to ascend in these magical times in which we live right now. So what I wanted to come back with is this, man. What I wanted to talk about is this right here is the season of fire. This is about the fire element. The moment that we in right now, this is all about fire. I wanted to talk about that right there and talk about this being the season of the gods. And this being a dragon year, we are dealing with the element of fire. So that's what I want to go into a bit. Um, Go ahead if you still here and if you find this message to be interesting enough to you, if it's helpful to you, make sure you subscribe. Let's keep growing the channel, while we can. And, let's go, So anyway, what I wanted to do, as you all know, we are just now dealing with a lot of solar activity on this plane. I'm sure many of you have been hearing about the solar flares coming off the sun. And if you are not familiar with solar flares are those are when the sun actually emits plasma and it sends out a storm, or what we call a solar storm. And so the sun's plasma actually beams down, and these waves of energy from the sun actually hit the earth. It hits the earth's magnetosphere, and usually the earth is protected. So it kind of, the earth's magnetosphere serves as a protective shield to kind of keep those flares from actually burning the whole earth up. You know what I'm saying? But as of lately, these flares have been so strong that it's actually penetrating through the earth's magnetosphere. So this is what's going on with the solar activity from the sun. And this is why this is important for us to know that these things are happening. Because if you don't know and you start experiencing headaches and you start experiencing certain, things going on, symptoms, and you can't understand why, then, this could be a big part of that. That's why it's important to know. We are in the age of knowing. Ignorance is no excuse. Like they tell you, ignorance of the law is no excuse. These changes are happening whether you are aware of it or not. You can call it what you want to call it. You can call it spooky shit, whatever you want to call it. But this is really science. This is not even science. This is the creator's work. You can't possibly think that the only element that exists in this universe, or just the only elements that exist are the physical elements that you know. You know what I'm saying? So again, I wanted to say that to say, be mindful of how you feel. It's important to know what's going on with these things, because if you don't, you will become, you might lose yourself. So you have to know what's going on first with you, And so let me explain how some of these things are affecting the mind and the body, how it's affecting the spirit, how it's affecting us, how it's affecting you. So when the sun's activity increase, and if you are melanated and this energy is hitting you from the sun, what it does is, what's happening is, we are receiving what we call light codes from the sun. The sun's light actually has information in it. And when this information is trickled down, or when the sun hits your skin, or, it reaches you, the melanated one, it actually starts to awaken the dormant DNA within you. So we're talking about waking up the DNA that they've always called junk DNA, which is bullshit. The DNA is not junk, otherwise it wouldn't be there. The DNA has just been dormant because we went into a sleep state. So now that the DNA is being awakened back up, through this activity that we are receiving right now from the sun. We got a solar eclipse right now on the brink of. I don't know when you'll be listening to this, but the energy from the solar eclipse will be around even after the eclipse is over. So really pay attention. So what happens is this energy from the sun, and remember, we're talking about fire. The sun, the energy from the sun, once it hits you, once it hits that carbon and that melanin, then it begins to activate your 12-strand DNA. Because we've only been using a small amount of our DNA. Now, when this new energy comes on, it's waking up our DNA. It's already doing it, and it has been now really over the past several years, even longer than that. But right now, it's really, really activating. This is the moment. So this is why I want to express this message of why this is the element of fire is really important. We are in the season of the gods. This is the season of fire, the fire element. So the sun represents the fire element. The sun is of the fire element. So when that energy comes onto this planet, it is going to heat things up. Fire represents passion. Fire also represents the light, consciousness. And so we dealing with fire. Fire can also be destructive. So some shit is definitely going to burn in this season. So that all I say to say this, we are in what we call a dragon year, 2024, the year of the dragon. The dragon also does what? Spits fire. We're talking about the element of fire. This is also an 8 year. So if you turn to 8, you looking at the symbol of infinity, which is the dragon eating its own tail. The snake or the serpent eating its own tail. So again, this is symbolic of this being the season of fire. You know what I'm saying? We dealing with the fire element. So if you notice, there's been a lot of things catching fire. Pay attention to how many wildfires have been taking place over the past year or so, and there's more. And if you look, some of these fires have been set intentionally. Some of them have not. So you're going to see more things happening with fire, with this being the season of fire. Things are getting hotter. Things are heating up. Notice how many, there's been a lot of house fires even, if you notice. Even personally, I know of some people that have transitioned in a house fire, that have, passed away in house fires recently. You know what I'm saying? So this element is very much here. We talking about the fire element, so we all have these elements within us. So what is your fire burning for? Like, how are you going to use your fire in you? And also, I want you to understand something as well, too, with this fire element. We spitting hot fire right now. We talking about fire. That being said, so, we all have, certain energies and entities that have tried to work up against us all. You know what I'm saying? So this is also the season of karma, which I've spoken on before. The number 8 is the season of karma. And we also are talking about the dragon energy, which I said before. So what happens is what goes around has to come back around. That's universal law. And when we talk about karma, we are talking about the law, the universal law of cause and effect. So every cause has to have its effect, and every effect has to have its cause. This is the universal law of cause and effect. So what am I saying this for? Those who have been, you have two different groups of people. You have one group of people who are more so on the side of lower entities, meaning these people or these individuals, they only deal in darkness only. That's it. Meaning they are not balanced. They're not balanced. These people are those who just continue to attack the wrong people. And this is all the way from entities that you don't see. There's entities that exist in realms beyond your comprehension, beyond what your consciousness can perceive. And so these entities actually have a hierarchy. So they don't even exist. A lot of these beings are not even physical beings. So what happens is there's a trickle down effect. These beings have a set of maybe extraterrestrial energies that work under them. And then under them, you have your secret shadow governments who report to these extraterrestrials. Then from your secret shadow government, you have your governments, which report to your shadow government, and so forth. And it goes down. There's a hierarchy. And these people's job is to work for a certain force. And that certain force is to continue to keep, is to continue to keep a more so of a satanic energy present on this planet. Now, mind you, satanic energy is not necessarily all evil or all bad. We're just simply talking about energies. All of these things represent energy. However, once you have too much of one and not enough of the other, and you are abusing that power and that energy, then it becomes destructive. So this is where we have to draw the line, and there has to be balance. So that's one group of people. You have another group of people who have been here fighting to raise the frequency and raise the vibration on this planet. This would be your healers. This would be your artists who are raising awareness on the planet, raising the vibration. These will be musicians who make positive music. You know what I'm saying? People like your George Clintons and, your Erykah Badu's and, your God I Seers even. You know what I'm saying? This will be people like that. Michael Jackson, Prince, these people had important messages in their art, in their music to raise the frequency. Also the master teachers who've been here doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Rest in power to people like Dr. Delbert Blair, C. Freeman L. You know what I'm saying? Brother Panic. Peace to Bobby Hemmett. These are all master teachers who came here to serve a purpose. Now, mind you, they don't deal with moralism. As spiritual beings, we don't deal with moralism. However, what we do is we put out a message that can potentially raise the frequency. It's up to you what you do with the information. So that's one group of people. Now, also on a personal level, you have the same thing going on this happens on a mass scale and on a personal level. On the personal level, this could be your enemies who have, tried to commit certain things against you. So this is the season. If you have been someone who's been focusing on your path, you know what I'm saying? If you are on the side of the creator, then those who have been trying to come up against you in any sort of way, this is the season of fire. This is the return of the gods. This is where those individuals will meet their demise. And it will get very, very, I'm warning you, very destructive when that fire begins to take effect. Everything that is not in alignment with the divine will burn. All of that shit will burn. We're talking about all the way down to, like I said, even on your personal level. If you are a star seed, if you are someone who has been putting in the work, if you are a god, goddess, if you are on that frequency and you've been putting in work, but you still got individuals trying to get in the way of that. See, what happens is when people try to get in the way of your message, or when they try to get in the way of what you came here to do, if you came here to do something that's going to raise the awareness and raise the frequency, and they try to fuck with that, then what's going to happen is once the element step in, once the creator step in, all of that shit it's not going to be good for these folks. I'm just saying it's just going to be what it's going to be. We're talking about the season of fire. So as the serpent begins to spit that fire, everything that has tried to attack you, everything that has tried to destroy you, all of that shit shall burn in this season. catch fire. Oh yeah. And it has to happen. I mean, and look at the book of Revelation. It talks about this. In the end, what the devil will be cast into the lake of fire. We're dealing with that time right now. This is that moment. In the end, the devil shall be cast into the lake of fire. We are in the fire season. We're talking about fire, the fire element. This is the time of revelations. Revelations meaning the great reveal. All shall be revealed in the end as we are embarking on a new path, a new journey. This is a whole new book being written right now. You have an opportunity right now to create whatever it is that you desire to create. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Remember, we gotta be able to do magic. We talking about magic, alchemy. Anytime we deal with the elements, we dealing with true alchemy. You know what I'm saying? And that's really all we do. Think about anything you do in regards to magic. Any type of spiritual work involves the elements, not just one, but all of them. But fire is a very important element. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you doing any type of work. So all the way down to those who still use, if whatever you use, if you're using candles, you still have to light that flame. That flame, what happens while the candle is so powerful, one of the most used tools in spiritual work is because of the flame. The fire element actually takes you into a deep state of meditation when you stare at the flame. The fire actually represents consciousness or the subconscious. The darkness usually represents the subconscious. So if you sit in the dark and you light a candle, the darkness is the subconscious mind. But when you stare at the flame, it places you into a trance-like state, which means that when you're in a trance-like state, whatever you are meditating upon, it will much easier go into your subconscious mind, thus reprogramming and creating whatever it is that you would desire to create in the subconscious. Remember, nothing is effective unless it reaches the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is not going to be enough for shit to change. So you got to reach yourself on the subconscious level. And the fire element is very important in doing so. So, again, this is the element of fire, the season of fire. And we are dealing with this in a dragon year. And again, it talks about it, like I just said, in the book of Revelation, in the end, as the devil shall be cast into the lake of fire. And as you already know, I'm sure by all means, I'm not a religious person. Religion is just simply for those who are afraid to go to hell, and spirituality is for those who've already been there. Peace to Ralph Smart. I think I heard him say that first, but that's a common thing. But that's basically what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever you do is what you do. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that's not it right here. We gotta be able to let go of all of those things that were not created by the source. You know what I'm saying? So, and religion is one of those things. So, I mean, but again, at the end of the day, again, we talking about fire, talking about that element of fire. And, we in that season. You know what I'm saying? So when I say the devil shall be cast into the lake of fire, who and what is the devil? You know what I'm saying? This is symbolic on many levels. Your devils are those energies. You have devils in you. So that devil side of you, those demons inside of you, such as fear, you have to let that go in this season. This is the season of fire. We moving into a new paradigm. So this eclipse symbolizes the beginning of a totally new paradigm. So that means that there will be total destruction, to the old paradigm. So this means, again, when we talking about fire, you will see, listen, man, you have a lot of people that's talking about this eclipse taking place, but wait until you see the aftermath. You're going to see some things happen. We talking about, remember what I said. Remember what I told you about fire. There's some things that's going to burn to the fucking ground. I don't know if you all saw the lightning strike that hit the Statue of Liberty, hit it right on the torch just a few days ago. That is a symbol. I mean, it literally was a lightning strike that struck the torch on the Statue of Liberty. It looked like something out of a movie. Real live, we are in a movie. But who's writing your script? You better write it before someone else writes it. Because, see, these things have to come down. You cannot destroy what the Creator created and think that you're going to get away scotch-free. So with this being the season of fire, you're going to see some shit crashing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see some governments fall. You're going to see some government buildings burn to the ground. This is what I'm getting. So pay attention. You know, some of this shit is going to burn to the ground literally. You understand? So pay very close attention to governmental structures being destroyed. Pay very close attention to government structures, especially those who were in power and abused their power. Pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? On another note, on another level, remember that the element of fire is something that exists within us all, and we should be tapping into our fire side. If you have, listen, again, you gotta learn how to use elemental magic. You got a lot of people out here that really talk about magic and but they talk about it. It's one way to do it. They talk about one way to do it, which is doing, work with objects, which is nothing wrong with that as well. But when you start to, raise your frequency, you begin to graduate from that shit. Like you start to graduate from old ways of even doing magic. So elemental magic is something that if you're not doing it, you should, be working toward doing it, which means that we work directly with the elements. We don't even have to go and light a candle. We don't have to do any of that. Meanwhile, you got individuals that are trying to, conjure up certain rituals that they want to do and send towards you. But they don't know that you don't even have to touch shit. Like when you get to a certain level of self-mastery, you become a master. When you become a master of one thing, you move to the next level. And I'm not saying that you'll master it all because no one knows it all. You will never, listen, this journey is infinite. But what I am saying is that when you start to graduate from certain shit. You know what I'm saying? You get to a point to where you start using the elements to work for you. We don't have to I'm at a point right now. I don't have to go and light a candle. I can call directly on that element and get it to do exactly what I need it to do. I have a relationship with fire. Me and fire get along real well. So if if I need something burnt up, like I don't have to go and do it and do all of this complex shit. I've done that. I know how to do certain things in terms of magic, in terms of putting certain things together. I come from a lineage and a family of spiritual workers and practitioners. I'm not new to this work. However, once you start to graduate, you begin to you go to new levels to where you become an alchemist, to where you realize all of this shit exists within you. A lot of this is coming straight from your own mind. So if you have the will, if you have the ashe, if you have the power, you don't have to really use all of these things. You can work directly with the elements. So like I said, I have a great relationship with fire. I have a great relationship with water. I use water a lot. You know what I'm saying? Earth. I have a great relationship with Gaia, Terra, Earth. As well as the air element. I use these elements to get shit done. And when you're able to work directly with the elements, they will respond to you. And this is when you really, I'm going to tell you right now, like when you really, really tap into true elemental magic, it's very powerful. It will get very intense, regardless of what you're trying to do. So you use these energies to work. You know what I'm saying? And if there's something that you need cleared out of your path, you can destroy it. And you don't have to lift a finger. But you do have to lift your metaphysical muscles. You know what I'm saying? You have to go into your subconscious, and you got to be able to program that. It don't just happen just like overnight, but with repetition, it's like lifting weights. The more you tap in, the more you raise your frequency and you start to work with the elements, the more they will work with you. They respond to you. You know, we talking about becoming airbenders, using fire. So meanwhile, while these people trying to figure out how to take you down with a candle, we talking about actually using real elements without even having to even do all of that. And we talking about being able to send the air element through your whole shit like a fucking, hurricane. You know what I'm saying? Tsunami. You know, we talking about using these things to, clear out anything that needs to be cleared out. And also using them to bring into our lives what we desire to bring into our lives. So these things can be used again when we talking about magic. And again, I'm not sure where you are on your path. I'm assuming that many of you are familiar with some level of spiritual work or magic. So, you may not be or may not be familiar with using elemental magic, but I hope I'm making sense. I try to keep it as clear as I can without making it complicated. But you can go back, listen to this again, or you can do some studying on that. Also, if you need any type of books on these things, you can contact me. We carry these things at thehouseofancestors.com. A lot of our materials you might not see on the website, but we do have them. So if there's a certain book, if you need a certain book on a certain topic in terms of spirituality, in terms of ancient knowledge, ancient history, the occult, whatever it may be, and if you don't see it on the site, you can always email info@thehouseofancestors.com. Also, if you really want to work with your own energy and you want to be able to turn that on, you can book a personal consultation also by going to the website at thehouseofancestors.com. I have several different services that I offer in terms of working with you, helping you really work with your energy. Some of them are designed to help you clear out old trauma. Some of them are designed to help you get through an ascension or a dark night of the soul that you may be going through, or if you feel like you're going into an awakening and you need some help with that. That's kind of what I do. That is what I do amongst other things. So make sure you go ahead and visit thehouseofancestors.com for that. And, also, again, if you need anything, email that email, info@thehouseofancestors.com. So, just had to plug that in. And again, man, I appreciate you all for listening. Again, remember, we in the season of fire. This is the season of the gods. The fire element is in full effect at this time. So you're going to see things heat up. And this is why they are now trying to, again, block out the sun's rays from reaching the planet, because those who have, abused their power can no longer stay on the surface of the earth because they can't take Ra. Ra is actually beaming, increasing the energy. So the sun is not playing. And just because you have melanin, don't think that you are 100% out of the water. You need to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to upgrade your DNA. This means making sure you stay well hydrated, drinking enough spring water. This means taking enough time out in nature. Each day you need to spend more and more time in the sun so that your body, your spirit, and your energy can become used to these new energies coming from the sun, because these energies that's coming ain't gonna be nothing like the old sun that you knew. Telling you right now, if you're not raising your frequency to be able to take this type of energy, then you're gonna experience it. You definitely gonna feel it. As we go through these ascensions, we can feel these things taking place. You may feel headaches. Like I said, you might feel headaches and certain things in the body. You might feel certain emotions coming up, like you might get a bit irritated. You might start feeling certain things going on inside of you that don't necessarily feel comfortable. You might start getting a little sick or feeling a little ill. If that is the case, then and you know that you are, trying to work with this energy, then just know that those are the energies trying to integrate with you. Just know that that is also a sign that you need to continue to raise your frequency. And the more you raise your frequency, the less these things will start to bother you. And once you get yourself up on that level, then that means you are vibrating with the energy and you're not working against it. So again, we're talking about the sun's rays actually activating your melanin, actually activating the melanin within the pineal or the pineal gland, activating that first eye. Get outside and get that sunshine, get that sunlight. If they telling you to stay in the house, they telling you to stay in the house for a reason, because they can't take it. You know what I'm saying? So they going to try to come up with some ways. But like I said on the last video, this is about you. It's about us. The power is in you. Know thyself. So again, the element of fire, the season of fire, the return of the gods. We're talking about it right here. I might come back with a part 2 because I'm barely scratching the surface with this. You know what I'm saying? But again, if this resonated with you, you already know what to do, man. Go ahead and share this, share the message. Go ahead, hit the like button, and make sure that you leave a comment. If you got any questions too, leave a comment up under here. And if you need me to go in on anything else, just, leave it in the comments. You know what I'm saying? But once again, man, it's yours, God Asir, right here from the House of Ancestors, man. And I'll be back with another one soon, man. So y'all stay tuned. Peace.